Don't let the money control you. You are in control of the coin, okay? Places, please. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kuyati Nora, your favorite virtual castmate, and today we are going to be having a money talk advice video on information that we wish we had before getting our BFA. But before we hop into that, if you haven't done so already, what are you doing? Join the cast by clicking that red subscribe button and the bell notification so that you know whenever I upload a video, and add me on Instagram because you know you want to hear the tea, okay? Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so advice number one, always have a stash of cash. That is super important, and honestly, if you know who Dave Ramsey is, then you probably have heard this already, but I would advise that you have at least $1,000 in cash that you have with you at all times, either for an emergency or as a savings. Honestly, it could kind of double as both, but just have a stash of cash that you put away. You don't look at it unless it's absolutely necessary. Advice number two, pay your bills on time and not just to pass by. The reason for that is by you paying your bills on time outright versus not doing that, it exposes your ability to budget or the lack thereof, right? And I think the idea of knowing what your income is, what expenses you have, and when the expenses need to be paid is super duper important. If you are someone who is not good at that, the first step that I suggest you doing, depending on whether you like using your phone or whether you like to write things down, I suggest that you get a picture of everything that you're paying for. Then write out how much you get paid and literally see what things you need to be paying for versus things that can be eliminated to help you save money. Value your time. I'm going to read this verbatim because I thought that this piece of advice was super important. Your time equals money. Your headshot equals $500, which equates to X amount of hours that you have to work at your job in order to pay for that. That is key. So for me, right, I am a voice teacher and I get paid per student who studies with me. So if I am paying for a headshot, let's just say a headshot is $100 just for the example's sake, and I charge $25 for voice lesson. That means that I have to teach at least 5 or 6 students in order to pay for my headshots. And the reason why I say after 5 or 6 students is due to the fact that yes, 25 times 4 will equal 100. However, I have to take out my own taxes because it is my business. So that will leave me with a little bit less than $25, which means I have to make up for that cost, right? So that means I have to teach more than just 4 lessons in order to pay for that. So that's how you want to think about the expenses that you have. How many hours do you have to work in order to pay for that and still have some room left over? So you account for that disposable income. Hopefully that makes sense. Don't take out student loans. That's self-explanatory. That's another video for a different day. Don't stop shopping at Walmart because Target will take your money. Target tells you what to buy. You don't tell it what to buy. No, but seriously, when you walk into a store, there are so many marketing concepts that are involved when you walk into a particular storefront. And you want to be aware of where do you end up spending the most money when you didn't plan for that, right? Walk in with a budget. Another tip that I'm just kind of improvising on, whenever you go shopping, don't use your card. Take out money and just spend the cash. This is a big, okay? Don't be ashamed to choose work over somebody's play or production. Don't choose to go broke because you feel needed by the theater. This is a big one. And I think that I actually fell deep into this myth for a very long time because I felt like I'm supposed to be the starving artist. The art needs me. So does that mean that now you have to skip meals because you're hungry? Does it mean that you have to then compromise your credit? Does it mean that now you have to walk around without the basic necessities for your art? And I think it's important to now stop this misnomer of needing to be the broke artist in order to succeed. I think that that's a terrible piece of advice. You don't need to be a starving artist in order to be successful. Don't be afraid to ask for more money. When it comes to negotiating your contracts, there's always wiggle room. There's always an exception. So don't be afraid to ask for a little bit of change or ask for what other opportunities exist. So maybe you get cast for an understudy, or maybe you get cast as ensemble. Maybe you have experience with digital work. Maybe it could be graphic design, it could be social media, whatever. You can say, hey, if I offer to run the social media for the show, how much would you pay? You can set up a stipend and then add that in addition to what you're already getting paid for being an ensemble. Invest in the stock market. Now, this one is completely up to you. The stock market could be quite volatile, even though we just experienced, the whole shebang with GameStop and whatnot. However, if you feel like that is your shtick, I suggest that if you are going to invest in the stock market or any money market, that you use disposable income, that you don't use your main source of income to invest, because it can be volatile and it's highly unpredictable, and you don't want to, say for instance, invest your rent money into the stock market. Credit card advice. Credit cards are not bad. Get it as soon as you start spending your own money. The one thing that I wish would be stated about credit cards is that credit essentially is debt allowance, right? We want a good credit score, because when we are buying a home, for example, you are more often than not probably going to put down a bit of a down payment, but you're basically showing the bank that you're lending from that, hey, I don't have $300,000 on hand, but what I will do is put down $20,000 and show you my credit score to say, this is my history of borrowing money and paying it back. This should hopefully make you trust me to do the same with you. So when you have an 800 credit score, it's like, whoa, you've really done great with borrowing a large amount of money and paying it back on time monthly. In smaller examples, having a credit card and making sure that your utilization is at under a particular amount, most recommend 30%. What you're doing is saying, if you're allowed to spend $1,000 of credit per month, you are going to use about 300 of that. And at the end of the month, when you get your statement, you pay it off. You don't pay the minimum balance. By you paying off the $300 every month, you not only increase your credit limit, but you also increase your credit score, because it shows that when you do borrow money, you can pay it back on time. Next piece of advice, save money from your paychecks automatically. This is key. When you get paid, it is good to set up automatic savings so that you're not in the mindset of saying, oh, I'll just do it manually, but then knowing good and well the amount of money that you should put away, about 10 to 20%, you end up putting towards something fun, when realistically, you don't have the money to spend on something fun just yet, because you haven't covered your necessities. Have multiple accounts. This is also a good one. So this person suggested that you should have at least one checking and then maybe a few savings accounts. So, and this is a good idea. I think it's good to have a main savings account, an emergency savings account, and maybe a fun/vacation account, because that way you know that each account has a particular purpose and you're not pulling from miscellaneous places in order to gather up for, this activity versus that activity. And lastly, if you find a job that checks all of the boxes, take it. Meaning benefits, 401k, good pay. You don't have to sacrifice livelihood to act. And like I stated before, with compromising your livelihood when choosing a show or turning it down, this is key. And I'm giving this advice because I've actually fallen short with a few of these. And now that I'm older, I wanted to give these pieces of advice to anyone who is either in college or high school, or just younger folks in general in this career path, so that you can avoid a lot of the mistakes that we as older people made. And we want to give you gems so that you are living a better life within the arts. It is okay to work for money. It is okay to ask for money. It's okay to utilize it. It is a resource. And as artists, we need to know that it is okay to not feel like having a relationship with money is bad, because at the end of the day, all things come down to money. So that is all that I have for today. I hope that you found this video very informative and helpful. If you haven't joined the cast, make sure that you click that red subscribe button and the bell notification so that you know whenever we are having a show. Until next time, bye.